New York City. The city that never sleeps, the sprawling urban jungle where you can find both justice and chaos at every corner. It's a place where the line between right and wrong blurs, where shadows hold secrets, and where every choice comes with a price. We zoom in on the streets of Manhattan, a sleek black car racing through the concrete jungle. Tonight, the city breathes in the silence of its darker side. In the heart of this restless metropolis, there's a man who understands the city's pulse better than anyone else. Shaft, John Shaft. John Shaft is not just any detective, he's the man who knows how to get things done. The man who doesn't play by the rules because he knows the rules don't always work. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but he has one driving force that sets him apart: justice. Real justice. 2 years ago, in the upscale world of wealth and privilege, a heinous crime rocked this very city. Walter Wade Jr., the son of a powerful real estate magnate, took the life of a young man named Trey Howard in cold blood. For Shaft, this case would become personal. We see flashbacks of Trey Howard's bloodied face, a young man whose life was cut tragically short, a racially charged murder, a privileged killer, a justice system tilted toward the rich. Shaft wasn't about to let this one slide. Walter Wade Jr. didn't fear the consequences. He had money, power, and the arrogance to think that those things would protect him from the law. But Shaft saw something else in Wade. He saw a spoiled man who thought he could escape responsibility. That's when Shaft made it his mission to bring Wade to justice. Wade was arrested, charged, and then released on bail. 2 years passed, and Wade fled the country, living in exile, avoiding the consequences of his actions. But in the shadows, Shaft never forgot. He never let go of his promise to find Wade and bring him back. We see Wade smirking in the courtroom, unconcerned about the future. Justice delayed is justice denied. And Shaft doesn't deny anyone what they deserve. Wade's return to the U.S. 2 years later was his first mistake. A man like Wade thought he was untouchable, but now he was back in Shaft's crosshairs. When Wade returned, he expected to blend back into the high society that had always protected him. But this time, things were different. Shaft was waiting, and when Shaft wants you, there's no escaping his pursuit. Shaft moves through the city's streets, his eyes focused, his mission clear. He catches glimpses of Wade moving through the crowd, heading toward an upscale nightclub. The city never forgets its debts. Wade had avoided his punishment for too long, but now Shaft was about to collect. Inside the nightclub, Wade thought he was safe, surrounded by his wealthy friends, basking in the arrogance of privilege. But Shaft doesn't care about status or money. All that matters is the law, and Wade had broken it. The camera follows Shaft as he walks up to Wade, standing tall, exuding a presence that commands the room. For Wade, the moment of reckoning had arrived. Shaft grabs Wade, pulling him away from the crowd, his voice low but menacing. "You thought you could run, you thought you could hide, but not from me. Justice is coming." Shaft brought Wade back to the police station. For the Howard family, it was a glimmer of hope. But for Shaft, it was just the beginning. The justice system had failed them once before. He wasn't about to let it happen again. Inside the station, Wade sits in a holding cell, still smug, still confident that his father's money would buy his way out once more. The system might be corrupt, but Shaft has his own way of tipping the scales. He knows how the game is played, and this time he's playing for keeps. As Shaft sits in his dimly lit apartment, he reflects on the case. Justice isn't always simple, especially when it's against someone like Wade. His wealth gives him power, but Shaft has something more valuable: determination. And a city full of people who've been wronged. Shaft knows that money can corrupt the system, but he also knows that some people can't be bought. And he's going to need allies if he wants to bring Wade down for good. There's one witness who could change everything: Diane Palmieri, a waitress who saw what Wade did that night. But Diane is in hiding. She's scared, and for good reason. Wade's family has eyes everywhere. They've been hunting her down, trying to silence her. We see Shaft cruising through the streets, searching for Diane. For Shaft, Diane is the key. Her testimony could lock Wade away for life. But finding her won't be easy. And keeping her alive? That's going to be even harder. Shaft tracks Diane down to a seedy apartment building in the Bronx. It's not the safest place, but it's the only place where she feels like she can disappear. Shaft knows he has to tread carefully. If he can find her, so can Wade's people. Inside the building, Shaft approaches her door, knocking gently. Diane is reluctant. She's been running for 2 years, always looking over her shoulder. But when she sees Shaft, she knows that he's her best chance at survival. Shaft speaks softly, trying to earn her trust. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to make sure you get justice for Trey and for yourself." But nothing in this city comes without a fight. As Shaft and Diane leave the building, they're ambushed. Wade's hired thugs, armed, dangerous, and desperate to shut her up. An intense chase ensues through narrow alleyways, with Shaft fighting off the thugs one by one. In moments like these, Shaft's instincts kick in. He's a warrior, fighting for what's right. For him, this isn't just about survival. It's about bringing a killer to justice, no matter the cost. He takes down the last thug, leaving the alley in silence. Shaft never backs down, not when there's something worth fighting for. Back in the safety of his apartment, Shaft knows the next steps are critical. Diane is the star witness. Without her, Wade walks free. But with her testimony, they might finally bring Wade to justice. Shaft and Diane sit across from each other, the weight of their mission clear. The path forward won't be easy. Wade's father has deep connections, and they'll use every trick in the book to stop this from going to trial. But Shaft doesn't care. He's come too far to give up now. The day of the trial arrives. The courtroom is packed, tensions high. Wade's defense team is formidable, well-funded, and ready to tear Diane's testimony apart. But Shaft stands by her side. He's not just her protector, he's her advocate for justice, but the truth has a way of breaking through even the strongest defenses. Diane takes the stand, her voice shaky at first, but growing stronger with every word. She tells the truth about what she saw, about how Wade murdered Trey Howard in cold blood. We see Wade's smile falter, the weight of his actions finally sinking in. Justice is a slow process, but it's relentless, and today, it's catching up with Walter Wade Jr. The verdict is in. Guilty. For the first time, Wade is forced to face the consequences of his actions. No amount of money or power can save him now. For the Howard family, justice has been served. And for Shaft, it's another victory in a city that doesn't always play fair. Shaft walks down the courthouse steps, the weight of the case finally lifting off his shoulders. In a city like New York, where justice is too often bought and sold, Shaft remains a rare force, someone who fights for what's right, no matter the odds. He may not always play by the rules, but he plays for justice, and that's what this city needs.